country which celebrates gold economically as well as culturally in such a vibrant way, we are sure a very silent front when we are talking about domestic production. But this is about to change. India is going to mark a structural transition in terms of gold economy with the commissioning of Jonnagiri Gold Plant. And this is going to be the change of India's gold story. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh and in today's session we are going to talk about Jonnagiri mines. Why are they important? How come their commissioning is relevant in today's India's gold domestic production and its transition, and also how are we looking at it for changing India's import dependence as well. So let us begin with understanding that why exactly we are looking at Jonnagiri as a very important structural transition for us. So when we are talking about Jonnagiri, let us understand why this becomes important. So if you look at India's major gold mines, the presence of gold in terms of potential production has been present, but after the closure of Kolar mines, there has been very limited potential that has been seen in terms of production. And now when we see the commissioning of Jonnagiri Gold Mine, this is where this domestic production front takes up well in the news again. This is where the domestic production that we have been talking about is probably going to turn up in the positive direction. So now when we are talking about Jonnagiri Gold Mine, we clearly get to see it is located where? Very close to Kurnool in Andhra Pradesh, and the commissioning of this mine is going to take place the very next month in this year itself. Now the important thing to remember here is that it is the first large scale private gold mine which is going to come up after independence. So the first one to come up after independence of such a large scale and private as well. This has been specifically developed by Geomysore Services India Private Limited. As I've mentioned, it is a private gold mine. Now this is the transition that I'm talking about, that this signals that finally the domestic gold mining sector that has remained dull and dead, especially since 2000s, since the Kolar mines went out, this is finally an answer to our domestic gold economy. As Jonnagiri comes after decades of stagnation in the gold mining, domestic gold mining, we get to see that this is a representation of strategic pivot from import dependence to better resource utilization. Because this project is so huge, we are looking at almost 600 acres, the investment goes above and beyond to 400 plus crores. And when we look at the domestic production that we can expect from it is about 1 ton every year, because the potential, if we are looking at it, it is somewhere around 42.5 tons, but as of now the certified reserves which are going to be utilized is around 13 tons. And what we are looking at, the mine life, the mine that we are seeing is somewhere around 15 years. And when we are looking at these given numbers, these might seem very big from Indian context, because India's domestic production is somewhere around 1.5 tons. Can you tell me in the comment section that what is the domestic consumption of India of gold every year? I'll be telling you while we are taking up the further discussion, but can you tell me in the comment section what is the amount of consumption? The production is somewhere around 1 to 1.5 tons. That is also coming only from Hutti mines. So from context of India, this number seems very big, but if you look at global numbers, this is a very modest and limited number. And this particular mine is going to cover 3 villages. We have Jonnagiri, we have Eragudi, and we also have Pagidirai. So these 3 villages will be covered in form of mine. Now I have been constantly, since the discussion started, I have been talking about that this is a flip of the page for India's domestic gold story. Why I am saying so? Why Jonnagiri is going to change so much for India's domestic production? So for that, let us try to understand that what does the India's gold dependence look like as of now. So when we are talking about India's gold story, it is something of a paradox, because our country, which is one of the biggest consumers across the globe, that means we have excessively high demand, but unfortunately we have very low production. So this is the paradox that I am talking about. Now when we look at the numbers related to this, what we get to see that on an average we are responsible for consumption of 800 tons of gold, and most of it, when I say most, I mean 99% of it is imported. Then what exactly we are producing? We are only responsible for domestic production of 1.5 tons, which is literally a drop in ocean as compared to this number. That also comes majorly from Hutti mines. Can you tell me in the comment section, where is Hutti mine located? Which particular state am I talking about? I'll be revealing it in the upcoming discussion itself. Don't worry, you would not be going without the answer. So when we are talking about 1.5 tons of production, this number does not help the import at all. So once Jonnagiri mine, gold mine comes into the picture, there will be an addition to this which might actually elevate some pressure of the import dependence that we are looking at. And the reason that we have this paradox so vivid in front of us, it does have some certain reasons to it. First of all, I have already mentioned Kolar mines 2000, that created a vacuum, the closing of that. Then we also have that how investment went to the other side. By that I mean how public sector focused on overseas assets and private participation remained absolutely limited up and until now. So Jonnagiri as of now lies an answer not just for this number, but also the participation and the investment that has been lacking historically. Now understanding that how Jonnagiri actually can solve our import dependence or not. So I think when we have been looking at this number, you have the answer to it already, that in short term we don't see any significant reduction coming in imports because Jonnagiri becomes operational. But at the same time, Jonnagiri sets a wheel of action in motion which can change a lot for mining sector. For example, encouraging private investment, for example, exploration activities which can also enable finding of other minerals. Because when we are talking about exploration, this is the place where gold is not only being mined, there is a possibility of presence of other minerals as well. And then there has been a direct suggestion by experts across that India needs to aim for that production between 50 to 100 tons every year needs to be taken up if at all we want to bring any drastic reduction to the import dependence that we have had on gold for so many years. So that can be addressed only when we pump this production with further encouragement to other aspects of this mining sector. Now this is where we move to talk about the strategic as well as development implications which will come as a result of this mining project, which are expected out of this project. The first aspect that we need to understand here is how this impacts us strategically. We already are clearly aware gold is something that is a reserve asset, and if we are adding to it, we are reducing our import vulnerability. That means the macroeconomic indicators remain positive. Now when we look at the economic aspect and the policy framework aspect, this is in direct support of Atmanirbhar Bharat. This is in direct push to domestic mining sector as well. But something that needs to be seen beyond just this factor, that mining in these regions can actually become the engine of development, because this can ensure better infrastructure, this can ensure healthcare, this can ensure education, sanitation, and an industrial setup originating out of this whole region in itself. So when we are looking at Jonnagiri project, we need to look at it not for the numbers, we need to look at it for the direction that it is giving to the whole mining sector. Because gold is not something that is just ornamental. It is a financial hedge, it is a reserve asset, it is going to give us economic sovereignty. And in this is a revival of mining sector that we see live in front of us. On this note, I would be posing a question for you, that is, what do you think that the challenges that still stand for gold mining and mining as a sector in our country? Put down the pointers in the comment section. I'll be waiting for your pointers. Now, one question that I asked was about Hatti mines, basically where they are located. They are located in Karnataka. Now, on this note, let us discuss the way forward, that what looks like the right way to go ahead. So as of now, it is very important that we focus on policy reforms that can ease this whole sector which has been dwindling and looking for revival. Furthermore, mining is something that can be enhanced, and the productivity and also the viability, economic viability, can definitely be helped by advanced technologies, be it in terms of exploration, be it in terms of mining, and be it in terms of processing itself. This is the time that we need to encourage private partnerships to come into the picture, because of lack of investment that has been seen as a challenge previously and at the present time as well. And most importantly, when we are looking at mining, a major challenge is environmental concerns and the environmental degradation that comes along. So looking towards sustainable mining practices. On this note, I'll be ending today's session. I'll be leaving you here with a prelims practice question. Let me know the answer in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.